Fire away, people.
You've hosted a lot of these. What's
Yes.
it like being on the other side of the microphone?
Very strange. They just did the rehearsal like a half hour ago because I walked into the arena where the players come in. Hoover took a shot of it, and Patrick was there. He said, "Hey, Patty, and we're going to rehearse in a few. I don't want to be here for the rehearsal. I don't want to know what's going on." So I made sure I wasn't here. Different for sure. Yeah, I'm not introducing the speaker. I'm the speaker, so different. That's about all I can say, Dennis. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it, anxious.
Nick, I assume there are different feelings now than there were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. I think with a night like this and with the regular season winding down, it's okay, this is really happening for me. It's going to wrap up and wind down, and I will be retired when the season comes to an end. But I've told a lot of you, I've expected this. I mean, it's been on my radar for a couple of years, retirement. So I'm good with everything. I just hope the team has a good playoff run in my last season. I don't want the last series to be against Edmonton because that was my first series, as Darryl remembers. In 1982, the Miracle on Manchester was my first playoff series with the Edmonton Oilers. So yeah, it's starting to hit home. Yeah. I'm ready, yeah. Fortunate, my two boys live right near us in Santa Clarita. Nick has the two grandkids. We see them a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing them play their games in high school, junior high, soccer, all that kind of fun stuff, and be around for all the birthdays now instead of some of them. And my wife likes to travel, so we'll be doing a lot of that.
I know,
Yeah.
Nick, over the course of the year, like the village that we go into, and a couple times when you guys, when Jim haven't been there for the national TV games, everybody's always been asking about you, about this year
Yeah.
and all that. I'm sure at this time now, phone calls are probably, messages are coming.
Yeah, no, a lot of people. The guys from the Jets, radio and TV guys in the press room a few moments ago came up and said hello, congratulations. And, last time we were playing Winnipeg, in the regular season. So, and today I got a number of texts from people back east that somehow found out that they're honoring me tonight. I'm sure my sister and brother-in-law back there had something to do about that. Good friends. So, yeah, it's been nice. And like I was telling Foxy, that's more fuel to the fire that, okay, this is really happening, and in a few weeks, maybe a couple months, it'll be done for good.
They were just walking down the hallway in Davis Payne, they were going into their meeting.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Said to make sure that.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Davis. Yeah.
Nick, for decades you did Kingstock after the games, and that was your connection to the fans.
Yeah.
What's it been like the last couple of years trying to stay connected and not having that vehicle?
Yeah, it's interesting because the difference now is I'm not in that booth for another 45 minutes after the game, like with Darryl all those years, taking calls. And by the time we're done, everybody's out of the building. I mean, we're the last two guys to leave the building every night. But now that I'm doing the TV side and my responsibility is just the play-by-play, when the game ends, I'm done. So when I pack up and before Jim goes on with the post-game show, I walk out and there are fans there, and many of them stop me and talk to me. So it's interacting in a different way, right? Instead of them calling and me answering their questions with Darryl, I'm face to face with a lot of them. So yeah, it's, they've been so good to me, the fans, and so appreciative of their kind words over the years. But I still keep in touch with them. I mean, I can't not. Yeah.
What about, Nick, your career, like the way the games changed and the way the players, like,
Yeah. Well, when I started, and maybe Jim can correct me or you, Darryl, the highest paid player I think was Marcel at $400,000. And that is not even close to the league minimum this year, right? So the economics of the sport, it's a bigger business, and it's for the better. I'll admit it's for the better. And I loved the changes they've made over the years coming out of that lockout, 20 years ago. The game is faster, it's quicker, it's played more for skilled players than the grinders and the so-called fourth liners from way back then, and the sluggers and all of that. So yeah, it's evolved, but I personally think it's in a good place. I love watching the games now. Yeah.
Outside of the big two, the obvious too.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite on-air moment?
Someone just asked me that in the press room, right, Zach? And Stoley was asking me that. Yeah, and the Stanley Cups, to win them at home and to get the reaction of the Kings fans right there, 18,000 plus. I mean, you can't write that script any better. And then all the great players I've seen, we started with Dion, the Triple Crown line when I began, and then Gretzky came, and Luke was a rookie with Carson and Duchesne, and all these guys with their milestone goals. I think I've called 3 players 500th goal, Luke and Curry for sure. Might be another one in there. Those great moments, for the players that the players really don't think about till after their career is over. But in the moment, it's big for me because I'm part of their history and NHL history.
What former Kings players reached out to you here over the last couple of months and wanted to reminisce a little bit?
Yeah. Well, the guys I see a lot in the press room, Dave Taylor, who's always here, you guys know he's working with the St. Louis Blues. Yeah, I mean, not a lot, really. And maybe after tonight when they realize, I don't think a lot of people realize this is my last season because we've gone to a lot of cities this year, and I don't think a lot of teams knew that this was going to be my last season because it wasn't publicly announced early on. It was here in Southern California, but yeah, I'm hoping. I'd love to hear from them, especially the guys that I knew quite well back in the 80s and 90s.
What will you miss the most, and what's the one thing you won't miss?
I'll miss doing the games. To me, it's always a challenge night after night to call a game, especially when I was on radio for all those years, to set the picture, paint the picture for the listener because they can't see it. So you want to be as accurate as possible. And that was the challenge. That's what really kind of inspired me to do the best I could every night. That was my inner drive. A little different calling the game, obviously, on TV. And to this day, I mean, after every game, am I really doing this? Because this is fun to do. It's still fun. The travel. Waking up in the middle of the night and not knowing which way to turn to go to the bathroom.
Was that the deciding factor?
No, again, it's been on my radar for a couple of years. And when they made the change a couple of years ago and decided to put me on TV, I was only going to do 1 year last year. And then Luke said, can you do 2? So I talked it over with Carolyn, and she got another cruise out of that. And I said, we'll do 2 more years. We'll do 2 more years. So I think the fact that I've known that this was coming, I'm good with it all. I've been just good with it all. I want to be able to do what I want to do while I'm still healthy enough to do it all. As Foxy and you guys, some of you know, I love playing golf. I'll do that a lot. Love to travel, want to see my kids, and I don't want to be doing it, with a cane or crutches or in a wheelchair, God forbid. So, yeah.
Hey, Nick, to keep your connection with the fans, you can cave now and join social media.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just need Patrick, you got to give me a handle here. Yeah, that's one thing I've avoided. We kid about that, but 10, 12 years ago, we actually did a couple interviews about when is Nick going on social media. I still have not. And my feeling on that has been over the years, if the fans want to talk to me, call me after a home game, and I'll talk to you. So that's all I need. So
when you look at the men and women who've been the soundtrack of sports in this city,
yeah.
Vin, Bob, Chick, what's it like to, one, be included in that group of revered sportscasters, but then also to come through the city and gotten to know all of those people, and they know as
well, thank you for putting me in that group. It's always an honor to be mentioned in the same breath as those great announcers that you just talked about. Yeah, and I was talking with a writer recently, and I think it was Kevin Baxter's article that came out yesterday in the Times, and he mentioned the guys that have been here for most of us, 40 years? Bob, Chick, Vin, Ralph, Lawler, myself. I don't know if I forgot anybody else, but it's like, okay, now there's a new group of guys coming in like Josh Schaefer and these people, and we're going to reset everything, right? It's another generation, and who knows, maybe in 30 or 40 years, you're up here doing what I'm doing.
I
Yeah.
was talking to Bob the other night after the game, and he was saying how important it was for him to be here tonight.
Yep.
Just curious, two-part question.
Yep.
One, what does that mean to you? And then also, did you tell Bob in advance? And if so, could you maybe tell us about that conversation when you told him you were going to retire?
It's interesting. I don't know if I know Bob knows it was going to be my last year, probably last season, when I talked to him or had dinner with him and Judy. But Bob and I started with Bob my first 9 years, and back then we only did 15 TV games a year on Channel 9. So he and I are doing radio for virtually the entire schedule. And when I came out here to Los Angeles, I had no idea who Bob Miller was. I had never heard him. There's no internet, right? So I couldn't hear Kings hockey on radio or TV. And the two of us, I think because we both were schooled in the communications broadcasting world, that's what we went to college for. I think we meshed pretty quick because we thought along the same lines as broadcasters. And then, of course, over the years, maybe when Jim started, the analysts started to become former players. And now that's all you see, right? So, yeah, I was at the tail end of that part of broadcasting where it was just broadcasters, not athletes, that were part of it. But I'm so thrilled that Bob is going to be here tonight. He was here the other night. I talked with him. And, yeah, as a matter of fact, I think of the 6 partners I've had, I was hoping they could all make it. Brian Engblom could not. He's in Ottawa, which is the farthest away from LA you could be, right? And Cami Granato sent word that she was tied up, but the other 4 that I've worked with will be here tonight.
We talked a little about the evolution of the game, and how about some of the common threads of just over 50 years, going back to the Nighthawks and Hammers?
Yeah.
What are the things that have kept you passionate about the game, and do you think are kind of the common ties, uniting threads of
Yeah.
those 5 decades?
The people, the players, they've been great to work with. I mean, they're just good guys, right? I mean, accessible. And it's been that way since day one. It was different early in my career in the minor leagues. We all rode the same bus together. It was just the one coach, the players, one trainer, and one broadcaster. So you became one big family year after year when I was either in Rochester or in New Haven. That's evolved because now there's so many people that travel. As everybody that travels with the Kings knows, there's one bus for the players and one bus for the staff and everybody else, broadcasters. There's almost more of us than there are of them, and that wasn't the case many years ago. But yeah, the people, I mean, fabulous. One of the reasons why I stick around as long as I have. It's great to meet everybody and talk with everybody.
You're a historian of the team as well as a broadcaster. Are you going to do something to keep that going and formalize that as well?
I'd like to. Over the years, I've archived a lot of the highlights of Kings hockey. We use them on our broadcast, This Date in Kings History. Now Josh's calls are being integrated into that. So yeah, I enjoy doing it. I've done it for so many years. It's going to be hard to just go cold turkey, right? I won't be doing the games on a nightly basis, but I still will be involved, and I've told the Kings I'd like to still do things for the organization, whether it's that, helping out with the broadcasters, making appearances, things like that. But yeah, I'll be around, and I'll certainly be at a lot of home games.
Quick, wind behind you, 200 yards out, water in front. You going for it, or you might not?
3-wood, slight hook. Yeah, we're going for it. Yeah. Well, thank you, people. I appreciate it. And it's been great knowing all of you. Great knowing all of you. Thank you. Thank you.